Hello. So this is my first YouTube live. Um, I have a lot of things to talk about the match, which is why I thought I'll set up a channel and talk to literally to the camera and see, like, if I can come up with some thoughts about the match today. It was a very interesting match in terms of after the match actually ended, I was unable to figure out what had actually happened. India did play decently well, and like we came really close to winning the match, right? So I have a lot of thoughts about the game. Now, I actually had thought India would easily coast to victory in this game because we have been very strong so far, and like the team actually looked very confident after the win against Pakistan. But it was not to be. South Africa also, incidentally, came in very, very strong into this match, although they had only 3 points and India had four. Their one match was washed out, and they had scored very, very highly in both of their matches against Zimbabwe, as well as I think the other match they had was with Pakistan, with Bangladesh, right? So. Uh, India went in, very confidently, and I thought it was actually a very, very good toss to win. Rohit Sharma has been lucky, third time, with winning a toss, and I thought it was a very good decision to bat because if the conditions are good, if the wicket is hard, and if it comes nicely onto the bat, it's always a good decision to bat on in a limited overs game, especially in a very crunch game. Although India has been doing very well while chasing, and our bowling defense is like a little dicey in the end. But then I think there were a lot more other factors today, which um, other weaknesses which showed up at the most unfortunate time, which is why I think we ended up losing the match today, right? So let's kind of look into those factors. So, as I said, the toss was a very good toss to win. And in terms of the team selection, I thought it was probably a good tactical change. Akshar Patel was actually fit because you saw him come into the ground and, like, field as a substitute. So it was nothing to do with his fitness. So he was actually, and I don't think he was even dropped because he had like a decent outing. He picked up a wicket here or two, here or there, against Netherlands. And then, but then I think it was more about a tactical change, because Deepak Huda does give you a better batting option. Although, like, no comments about Akshar. But Deepak Huda's batting is, like, far more solid in terms of, like, he's like a batting all rounder than compared to Akshar, who is like a bowling all rounder. This is something that I think we have to look at in depth about how India's strategy has been, because when they go in for changes, they go for like to like changes. It's not something like so we are going to make Akshar sit out. So the next best player overall is Rishabh Pant, so we will get him in. So it's not like that, right? India's changes, especially what I have been observing since Rahul Dravid has taken over, is that they have groomed these players who are like to like replacements. So if you have like openers, you have, like, against, like, if KL Rahul is when he was not fit, so you had Sanju Samson and Shubman Gill, Shikhar Dhawan, who came in the other teams, or like in other series, as replacements. And then you had also Rishabh Pant and Sky tried out as openers, along with Virat Kohli. And then there are some of these players who are like, they're all considered to be top order players. Like, it could be Gill, it could be Samson, Rohit, Rahul, Virat, Sky, and also probably Rishabh Pant, because they need a left-hander opening option at the top. And then there are like some of these middle order players like Hardik, as DK, and again Pant and Jadeja. So, so that's having said this. Sorry, that's a little bit of a detour, but then yeah, this is what I've been observing, and so which is why Deepak Huda came in place of Akshar Patel, because he's also an all-rounder, a spinning all-rounder. I thought it was like a good tactical decision, although I would have wanted them to be more conventional and just like bring in Rishabh Pant, because he just like provides you a very very like a crazy like a nitro boost in terms of team combination, or like 11 people in the team. So so having said that, so how did we start out, right? So that's so when the match started out, like one thing that I kept on actually hearing from the commentators, that it was actually very very cold today. But when we started out, we had Rahul and Rohit. The first over was a maiden, but then it was like very good to see that both of our openers got off the mark with sixes, and it was like a cool thing to see, because sometimes you have these like very scratchy starts, and then you are waiting for the batsman to kind of middle one, and for them to get into the flow. But it was very good to see both of them actually get a sixer to begin with. But then I think it was about getting carried away. So what happened today's match was that I think our players have been playing like in many of these, like in Asia Cup and other wickets where it has been very like slow and low pitches. I thought they got like really excited looking at that kind of a bounce. And Rohit Sharma is like one of the best players today of short pitch bowling. And I think they just got carried away, right? And it's not that South Africa bowled like really, really well, and neither I'm complaining that, like, it's not like poor bowling. It was really good bowling against very formidable batting attack. So if you see, like, there was sort of it was a cautious start against Abada, but I think it was like, they actually started taking on the next bowler. I forgot who it was. Like, I think it was Nautya and Ngidi. He just he just like Rohit Sharma's, like, pull shot. So I think they just like got carried away, because none of these balls were actually great balls. Like, it was more of, they were more of setups. They were also coming attacking. They knew that Indian batsmen were going to play for like go for the shots, and Indian batsmen also didn't hesitate to take these bowlers on. It was not like, oh, South African bowlers, oh, Waka, like, they were not scared. Like, they were actually taking them on, and which is where I felt like, like South Africa had like a victory there, like like, in terms of a matchup, if you can call it so. It was that victory that Rohit Sharma got out. Um, he pulled one and like got caught probably in like what, like short mid wicket, and then uh, I don't know. I honestly don't know what KL Rahul was doing. Like, dude, get a fucking grip on like your batting. Like, you can't be all over the place. You can't be like so magnetic in one match, like, which is what he was in Asia Cup, a couple of matches in India. Like, he scored, I think, one or two half centuries, and then like you come to the biggest stage, and then you are like fucking shitting the bed. Like, what is going on, right? Like, you can't be an opener like for India, like, against um, these big teams in like most important matches, and like nicking one. Like, what the hell is that? So it's very disappointing to see. And like, you have to play your shots, you have to find your spots, and like, um, uh, figure out how to keep it moving. You can't just be like looking for like big shots, and then like be like, uncertain, like, trying, what is that, like, are you in Headingley? Is the ball so swinging so much? Like, why can't you just let it go if you're not sure, right? Or like be very very confident at playing the shot. So this is something that's going to hurt India really badly if KL Rahul persists with that kind of uncertain approach to batting, because he did hit like that six that he hit off mid wicket was a really good shot. And when KL Rahul opens with those kinds of shots, you would think that he is in certain flow, and when and like we all know what he can do when he's in like when he's in his zone. It was very disappointing to see. Rohit, I can understand, because every time he sees a short ball, his eyes just like light up. So it's like a weakness, right? So he is going to go after it. And then I think I forgot like how Kohli got out. How um, uh, like hook shot, right? And same to do with Hardik Pandya. Like Hardik Pandya really gave it a back, but it just like ended up in Rabada's hands. He fell short, but like man, what catching! Like Rabada was phenomenal um, against Kohli as well as Hardik Pandya. Like those two catches, I think it made a significant difference for South Africa, because if there was somebody else, even like a better than an average fielder, those two catches were like, because one, it's Perth. To the ball is bouncing, and then they are like with the pace, and the amount of pace with which those balls would have come to Rabada, like the reaction time would have been very fast, like very very less. At the same time, it's also an extremely difficult position to keep, because like you are behind the batsman, like you are behind the square, right? And the ball really travels fast. um, and I think those catches made like the biggest difference. But then rose the sun, right? Like, and that's when the sunrise happened for India. And like without Surya Kumar Yadav today, we would have been like down in the dumps. Like out of 133, he made like more than half of the score. So, and it's so refreshing to see somebody who is so new into this batting attack. Like if you see, it's just like 2 3 years old in this batting lineup, but then he seems to be the one who is the only person who is shouldering that kind of a responsibility. What probably Virat has done or Dhoni has done for a long time. Even Rohit Sharma, for that matter, is he plays these like amazing knocks, but then he doesn't do it like he's an opener, right? And for somebody to do it at the middle order, um, um, you know, play like those great innings which Yuvraj Singh used to do, and even like to be honest, Rishabh Pant. For his age, he has done, but Surya's maturity and his temperament is like really commendable, and um, he put his hand up and he showed what a senior mature innings should be, which is what you actually expect from people like Rahul and Rohit Sharma. Kohli has done it a number of times, so you can't if he fails, you can't really question him. Um, Deepak Huda, dude, I don't know. These are the chances that you grab. Like you can't have any fucking complaints. I don't care if you have never played at Perth. I don't care if you've never played in Australia. I don't care if you've never played on the big stage. But then this is what you have played cricket for all your life. If you can't uh, figure out way to contribute to the team, then go back to domestic cricket and like do whatever you have to there. Right, and you don't deserve a team place in the team on such a great stage. Yeah, so it was brilliant Surya's innings. And one thing that Surya's innings you have to look at is, he was not like, if Kohli was in his place, or if somebody else, like even for that matter Dhoni, they would have slowed down the scoring. They would have said okay, I'll try to be cautious. No, he didn't do that. He kept his scoring. He stayed true to his natural game. um, and he was playing those crazy shots. He was not afraid that, oh, if I get out, what's going to happen to the team. I mean, that's how 2020 cricket is supposed to be played. You can't have like half measures. Even what India did against Pakistan, I had like a lot of complaints about it. Kohli and Pandya, I get it, it probably was a difficult wicket to score, and then the bowling was really good, but then you can't play T20 cricket with half measures. You can't be like, oh, let me take this slow, and then like those two sixes, I think Kohli that it hit, he was in the zone, and it was like a superhuman effort for him to actually pull off those two sixes. And any minor chance that those sixes wouldn't have come off, we would have been back, like, we would have been like, our situation would be the same as like what's Pakistan's today. This is how I believe, like, you play, you hard out, like, okay, fine, you get out. Like, in fact, like, I like what Hardik did, and for that matter, what like Kohli did today, right? Play your shots. If you get out, that's fine. Don't be like that KL Rahul or like Deepak Huda, where you are like, it's pointless. If the shot is on, as we say in cricket, right? If the shot is on, go for it. And then right, so and like, I would have actually liked to see Dinesh Karthik. At this stage, you can't really complain. It's not about the skill. We all know what he is. It's not about, it's probably like luck, or like, you just feel sad for somebody like Dinesh Karthik today. So um, it's so unfortunate with somebody that struggled so hard to get here, put everything on the line to get here, that it's just not coming off, man. Like, best wishes for him. Like, if he gets, like, he's also probably injured. Unfortunately, he went off clutching his lower back. So it's heartbreaking to say, like, and then yeah, so we made 133, right? And then, like, when you talk about the second half of the game, um, the it was a great start. It was expected. I was expecting this, that India would come really hard. In fact, one thing that I would have actually wanted was probably to open with Shami over or two in the power play, because Shami is fiery, fiery, scary at Perth. I get it that the ball was also moving. The conditions, like, were more exploitable even for spin bowlers. But one over in the first three for Shami would have actually, like, probably, he would have like got a couple of wickets. But the way India started, right? Um, Quinton de Kock, Riley Russo, the biggest two players for South Africa who've been in form. We got both of them, and I thought the match was in the bag. Like, the moment Russo got out, I thought we had the game. I'm not like Bauma. We all know that he's not been the best of his abilities, like, or in the form these days. So, and he's also not somebody who can turn the game around. So he's probably that sheet anchor role. But the match winners for South Africa are Quinton de Kock, Real Russo, Tristan Stubbs, and David Miller. These are the four players, and we got two of them. Um, Power play, they were like, what, 25 for three, 6 overs, 25 for three. I'll tell you the biggest mistake what Rohit Sharma did today, and I'm also coming to the biggest reason why India lost the game. Right, we all know about it. But the biggest mistake what Rohit Sharma did was, so we finish the power play with a Shami over. And then it was Hardik Pandya who bowled, I think, the seventh over. Um, Shami had picked up a wicket. I get it. Shami had picked up a wicket in the sixth over. I think it was Bauma, right? So after Hardik's seventh over, Rohit went back to Shami for the eighth over. That is, I'll tell you why it was the biggest mistake of this match, which kind of affected the match down the way, right, around the 19th, 18th, 19th, 20th over. Because I feel Rohit should have gone with, because South Africa had just finished the power play. They had just lost a wicket, right? Seventh over, they got 8 runs out of Hardik's over. Um, they were like 33 this at the end of seventh over. Eighth over against Shami, they were not going to attack him. Definitely not. Even if, like, Shami. So typically in a bowler, in a captain's mindset, um, and like, this is like a natural way of decision making on the field. What happens is that, if a bowler has taken a wicket, you would want him to continue that spell, right? In the chance of picking one more. But for a great team like South Africa, they are not going to fall for it. Probably a Netherlands or a Bangladesh or a Zimbabwe is going to fall for it, but South Africa is not going to fall for it. They know that, okay, we've just lost a wicket, we've just finished a power play, let's knock it around. That's all they're going to do. If we had bowled Ashwin at the eighth over, he would have bowled 8th, 10th, 12th, and 14th, which is what he did. So Ashwin came in, Shami bowled the 8th over, Hardik bowled the ninth, and no, Hardik 7th, ninth, yeah. And then Ashwin came in into the 10th over just before the break. Um, that is, and then he bowled the 10th, 12th, 14th, right? And then you had like 1 over left. So Shami bowled 6th and 8th. And then I think he bowled probably like 13th because Ashwin got hit at some point. So if you see, like, if Ashwin would have bowled 8th, 10th, 12th, 14th, you would have um, been finished with Ashwin by 14th over. You would have also had like one extra over left of Shami in the last six. So typically, the way I look at a T20 match is that 6, 8, 6. Those are the three periods for me. So you have like the first act of a 320 game, which is a power play, and India had a really good power play. So they should have capitalized on that and said, we are going to get done with Ashwin between the 6, 8, the second act, the 8 over period. Be done with Ashwin, because if you see, Ashwin was the weakest link today in our bowling, because on a pitch that's bouncy, that's fast, Ashwin's kind of a loopy spin, which doesn't grip as much. It's difficult. It's difficult to pick up wickets. So we should have just Ashwin actually bowled really well in the first couple of overs because he was bowling shorter, he was bowling flatter. Because the straight boundaries, as I'm told, are like the shorter boundaries here, and then if you are looping, if it's in the arc, it's out of the park, right? So that is the mistake that he did later, where he was starting to flight a ball, and then Miller just like whacked him. um, if he would have bowled it before 14th, finished his quota off, kept it like probably under 25 in four, maybe picked up a wicket, there was a chance, because when he bowled flatter, Miller tried to punch one, and then unfortunately, like, that's something that you can't even, like, that's your worst nightmare. If Virat is like dropping catches, that's like, you can't plan for those things. Like, we know, it's not even like like what, like, you can't have, like, Virat can't practice even more. Look do that way, that guy is like at the extreme, and it's like Superman, um um you know dropping a catch. So you can't, like, nothing is going to come out if even if you trains more. So those things are going to happen, and it happened in the worst possible time for us, and it also happened in the most important batsman's catch, right? So um that's that, as I said, like, those are the things you can't count, or like you can't blame yourself. If you would have bowled flatter, the only thing that I was expecting Ashwin to do was that limit your exposure, reduce your risk, and then like be done. Because the other thing that Ashwin was supposed to do is like control the over rate, and like just like get your 4 overs in, and then make way for the fast bowlers. That didn't happen. There was 1 over left for Ashwin in the last five, and I don't know what was going on with fielding today, because it does look like, there have been other instances where it's probably like yesterday, I think it was Sri Lanka, who were also very, very horrible in the field. So I think it's due to weather, but we are used to cold weather, so I don't know what wrong. Like, it's just probably like a day. It's not even bad fielding, right? It's bad luck. Virat dropping a straight dolly, right? It's bad luck. So these kind of things, everything happened. I hope that this is like all our bad luck is like nazar utarna. This match is that it's done, dusted. Um, And so, as I said, like if Ashwin would have bowled before 14, we would have got like 2 overs left with Shami in the end. One Bhuvi, one Hardik, one Arshdeep, like five fast bowler overs against like your attacking lineup. So it's something that would have given a lot more freedom for Rohit, and kind of change it around, because if you are like, even he bowled, I think Arshdeep at 16 finished it off. Um, so it's just one of those matches where you feel what was like, what could he have done better. Overall, they came off really poor because batting failed, fielding failed, and bowling was also like Ashwin got hit like for more than 40 runs, and it's Hardik also, I think, got whacked for a over. So if you see, it looks very, very bad, but I don't think that they were as bad. And I don't even think South Africa were as good as it came off, because Ngidi was like very good. Like, the numbers make it seem that he was really good, but then he was one of those players who India could have actually taken on, because his pace is not as much as Rabada or Nautya, which is why I believe Indian players were going after him, and he got lucky. Like, I think if there is one thing that South Africa had going for them, was luck today, definitely, because they got so many chances. And Indian catches, which is like the most difficult catches, Rabada took those. So I think this is where, like, the pressure probably matters in the big stage, and South Africa were probably better at handling that. Finally, it came down to Ashwin's like last over or two, last over, and the Shami's over. Shami brought a brilliant 19th over, amazing 19th over, and but then, like, our poor fielding, um, unlucky, poor, whatever you call it, but fielding, something controllable, something that we can figure out, point out where the mistakes are and make it better, uh, was the culprit of today's match. And I believe it's also something that has given some sort of a clarity for the team in terms of, what is that extra depth that you need for this team, because you need an impact player like Rishabh Pant. He can't be just sitting out. Unfortunate that if DK is injured, wanted to see him like actually perform on the stage, like, make a big performance. But looking at the overall big picture for the team, if Rishabh Pant comes in either in place of KL Rahul or DK, I'm actually much happier. KL, you never know, like, he can perform, like, can score 100 in the final, and, like, basically just make the whole match one sided. So I still have a lot of belief in KL Rahul, but he just has to pull his socks up and, like, figure out, because that's how his entire career has been, right? Like, he is like that magnetic player, once here, once there. So I don't know, what do you do? Like, either you leave him back home, or if you are having him, like, play him. Like, doesn't really matter. He's one of the best out there. Um, for his sake, for the team's sake, I hope he performs. I hope Rishabh Pant comes in. One thing that I have been always been saying is that probably Rohit can drop down, KL and Virat can open, and go berserk. Or like now, if Rishabh Pant comes in, KL and Rishabh can open and like give much depth. The big names to the lower down the order. You have Sky, you have Rohit, you have Virat, you have Pandya, and like, big names. Sure, like, they we have like enough ammunition in our batting. Bowling has been doing good. Now we move from Perth, I think we go to, I think, Adelaide or Brisbane, I don't know. So we have two more matches. um, both should be comfortable. Like, I mean, there's nothing you can do if you end up losing with Bangladesh or Zimbabwe, right? So and then, like, really figure out the minor inconsistencies or the minor weaknesses that we are having against in the semifinals. So We are getting there. We are getting there. We just need like a very big impact performance, and then we also need luck on on our side. So hope to see Rishabh Pant back in the team, and much more confident performance in the next game. So thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully I'll do more of these videos. My name is Sam. If you like my analysis, please share and give me feedback of what I can do better, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. Good night. Bye bye.